Bam, this is John Spartan with the Own It Podcast 001. And my very first guest, good friend of mine, Scott motherfucking Dixon.
How are you,
Fantastic man. Honestly, I met Scott, the first time I've ever met him actually was in Cork's Bar, I believe. No, McDonald's, yes. Never ever forget it, man. I saw you in McDonald's in St. Julian's. From that day, I always wanted to take a boxing class, and I said, oh man, I should definitely do it with you. And I did a little bit of training with Scott, and once you train with Scott, you realize that he gives you 110% when he shows up, 110% all the time. And I'll never forget the one day you showed up, and I came out, we met in Spinola Bay. And you told me, Johnny, I gotta prepare for a bare knuckle fight. And I said, okay, cool, that's great. He goes, I'm gonna use you for a little bit of conditioning. And I said, okay. I said, let's do it. And he says, yeah. He goes, we're gonna do 20 minutes. I said, 20 minutes, no problem. He says, 20 minutes straight, no rest, smoke around. And I said, what the hell does that mean?
That's right.
And it started off nice and easy, nice and slow, a little pat here, a little pat there. But then once he hit me in the liver and I felt this shock wave go to my ball sack, I thought to myself, man, how am I gonna get through this? And it was the hardest 20 minutes of my life. So from that moment, I dubbed to you one of my hardest training sessions that I've ever done in my life to you. I read your book and I absolutely said, man, Scott's gonna come on my show. Former Commonwealth champion, professional boxer with a fantastic record and an even more captivating story. Scott, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, John. Thank you first and foremost. Thank you for having me here today. You're a dear friend of mine and no better to sit with and tell my story.
Fantastic.
You know, so I mean, I started boxing when I was like 5 years old. I think the first time I was in a boxing gym I was 5. My grandfather was a boxing coach in the local town of Hamilton in Scotland. That's where I was raised. And you know, he was like a saviour of lost souls. He used to take underprivileged kids and take them from the streets and build better men of them, you know, and he'd teach them boxing. He would rent like a local community hall and he would rent all from his own money. He was a bus driver, then he was a taxi driver, and he used to fund all this for the kids in the community, you know, because they came from the deprivation of society, you know, the rough, the tough, the nasty. So he would take these kids on his own free time, his own free will, rent a space, teach them boxing and try and better them, you know, give them some leverage in life. He was an amazing man. And so I would go to the gym with my grandfather and I got into it very young, 5. I was actually 7 years old when I had my first amateur fight. So I was 7 back, 19, so that would be 1983, my first amateur fight. Then I had like 30 fights before I was 12, and then like 101 before I was 17. Wow. And I turned pro just on my 18th birthday.
Okay, so that was going to be the question I was going to have for you.
Yes.
Is that when did you realize that boxing was going to be your meat and potatoes? When did you realize that that's your path, that you're going to be a fighter, and that's that?
I'll be honest, and I don't regret it. I was kind of, like I said, my grandfather would have me in the gym every day, John. So I enjoyed it.
What about your mom and your dad?
Well, my dad, I mean, I speak to my dad these days, but my mum and dad separated when I was like 2 years old, so my grandfather jumped in and he raised me, my grandfather raised me, you know, so.
You have similar lives.
You know, he raised me from such a young age, so. But like I say, I forgot the question, I'm sorry.
All right, so here's another follow-up question that I have for you, is that when you got into boxing and that you realized that it was your thing, did this now align you? Did it make you a disciplined person? Does it make you someone who's gonna be like, oh man, this is setting my life in the right path?
You see, when I look back, and I was in the gym from such a young age, I'd be my grandfather every day, and I was kind of you know, people say you shouldn't be pushed, but I was pushed into being in the gym every day. That became part of my everyday life,
Right.
you know? And some people say, oh, you shouldn't push them, you should let them make their own decisions. I never really had that choice. Every day I'd be in the boxing gym after school, get ready, go straight to the gym. All the other kids are on the streets and getting up to no good. But I was pushing, no, you have to go to the gym.
Okay, and how long were the sessions?
Yeah, good. In the gym every day, 1.5, 2 hours, you know.
Hard work.
Yeah, hard work back then, learning the traits, the skills. And like I say, I was made to go, that was a must. I had to be in that boxing gym every day. You know, but when I look back now, what a blessing, because all the other kids in the neighbourhood, they were in, you know, they were getting into trouble. And I come from a place called Hamilton, just outside Glasgow, in Scotland.
Exactly. That's what I wanted to get into.
These council rough estates, you know.
Right.
And like I say, these kids from the deprivation of society, young offenders, this. So boxing grounded me. That was a kind of a saviour for me. That I never really got to go out and socialise with friends. My grandfather, he was strict with me, but in a beautiful manner, you know.
So if I were to ask you, would you think that everyone should learn some sort of, whether it be martial art, combat sport, boxing, should everyone do it?
Most definitely. It definitely adds moral fibre, for sure, John, you know.
So I'm with you.
It's the old saying, fit in body, sound in mind.
Yeah,
You make better decisions.
exactly.
You
That's what I
know,
was about to get into.
Yeah, you make so much. If you're in shape and you're around these people who want to grow, you know.
Right.
It's like if you're 4 top boxers, you become number 5. You know the old drill, what they say, maybe this and that. But you definitely, it's the company you keep, right?
Okay.
It's a massive thing.
So I don't know if you know who this psychologist is, but his name is Jordan Peterson, and I think he says it best. He said that a kind person by default isn't actually a kind person because they have no capability of going to the edge and handling business. So if you cannot go the distance and be a dangerous person, and then you're just nice because you're unable to do it, then that doesn't make you a nice person, that makes you a weak person.
Yeah.
And I think that's basically what you were trying to say, but he said it eloquently in a way where people say, when you hear the word dangerous and you hear violence, you think bad person. But yet we're saying it's controlled. So if I'm dangerous and I don't go out looking for violence or looking for a fight, and I live my life to a higher standard, that makes me a good person because I can be bad, but I choose not to be. Where if a man who's never fought a day in his life is just a weak man, and that's bad in my eyes. So I feel the same way as you do. I think I have my son in jiu-jitsu, and I take him to boxing. In fact, I'm going to be calling you up so that my kid can be learned by you, man. I mean, I want to instill my trust in you, man.
The kids have to be taught these traits.
100%.
Very important for progressing in later life, you know.
Just like mathematics or English. I mean, people don't normalize this stuff, but I see it as
fundamentals.
important. I think so. I think it's like, and then I told my kid to be on top of it, not to say that I'm like, oh, wow, I'm going to control your life. You know what I told him? I said, if I feel that you can live in the world that we live in and you can take care of yourself and your future family, you can stop boxing, you can stop jiu-jitsu, you can stop all that other fighting stuff. And then you can make your own decision if you want to take it to the next level or not. Because I don't want him to be a professional fighter. I want him to be whatever he wants to be. But I need him to know the basics. I need him to know that he's going to handle himself in this world.
You need that pre-installation. 100% agree.
All right, cool. So we're on the same track. Cool. My next question is, when you were boxing, you were disciplined in life, you were disciplined in the gym. Were you disciplined everywhere or just in the gym? Were you good at school? Did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy friends?
I really excelled at school because, like I say, I was in the gym, I was sharp in mind, I was good at school. I have fond memories of school, you know. Right? I say to some kids nowadays, I'll say, oh, hey, how was school today? And every kid nowadays will say, oh, school, you know. they huff, they puff, you know.
Right.
I never get that positive reaction nowadays from kids when I say, how was school? I mean, if they'd asked me back in my day, oh, it was great, good, I go fun, I go with my friends.
Really?
Kids, I
Fantastic.
think, see the bad side of school these days, you know, like,
Right.
I don't know how it ends up like that, but that's just the way I see it in this day and age, you know. I
Right.
have fun memories because you probably do as well.
No, no, I
No?
went down a different road.
Right,
I
okay.
didn't have martial arts and I didn't have the fighting. I had fights and
Uh-huh.
I did fights in a different way. It was more of a street thing, and I definitely didn't know how to take care of myself. I was raised by a single mom.
Right, okay.
My grandma then took over a certain amount of times. I moved 16 times. So we had similar lives where my grandma was really a rock in my life, but I didn't have real combat sports. I had
Right.
Taekwondo. I think I did a little bit of time. I think everybody did this. No offense, but I didn't know how to take care of myself. I think I was just swinging my arms
Right.
and just fighting to, just be in Brooklyn in the 80s. It was like that,
Yeah,
and you
right,
had to step up to some degree or get your ass whoopings, which I
That's right.
had that too. So in reality, I think I needed that and I didn't have it. I got, combat sports really late in my life, and you were a part of that, big part of that, dude. So I think that's a huge lesson that I think a lot of people that's a good takeaway, dude.
I'm so grateful that that was installed in me at such a young age. I really am. I mean, later in life, things never went the way they should have went. But
Right,
that was self-sabotaging, my own choices, you know. But early years, one, yes, I grew up in a rough, tough council estate, no
Right.
problem. I was trained. You get two things in life: trained or untrained. I was trained, so I was sharp. And I had a great upbringing. You know, my grandfather jumped in as from my dad's shoes in the aspect that he raised me, taught me how to be a man. So growing up, yes, like I said, it was rough, tough, nasty. But I was privileged in the sense I had such a beautiful upbringing, so many nice, fun memories of the past and my grandfather and my grandmother, you know. So I was blessed in that aspect, John.
So now that you tell me this, which that's fantastic, and I'm really happy that you said that because it gives our listeners, like a little bit of, like this is what can happen if you decide to put a combat sport or something that can level up your self-esteem.
Yeah.
And I think that's super important. Now let's dive into where you might have fallen off the track. And I think it might have something to do with maybe when you started to move up in ranks in boxing. Like you now went into boxing. You've lived a life, you went through school, you actually enjoyed school, you did well in it. That's a fantastic message that we're passing on to people. But when you became a serious fighter and people saw you as a prospect, what happened then? What type of Scott emerged?
You know, you see a different life then. I mean, I was like 19 fights unbeaten. I signed with a new promoter. And like I said, I was 19 fights unbeaten. I went to London and when I think I was around about 22 or 23. And I turned pro very young, John, like on my 18th birthday or so.
Oh, wow.
So 3 years later, 4 years later, I'm like 19 and 0, which is quite a big thing, you know. 19
Huge.
unbeaten. I've been learning my trade. I fought at different kinds of opponents to shape me to the way. Now I'm championship level. Now I'm ready to go for a British title fight So when I went to London, I saw a whole different thing. It's like I'd been sheltered in Glasgow. Like I say, the place I came from was no fairy tale, but because of the training and my upbringing, my grandfather supported me, my loving mother, my grandmother, it made a bad place look rosy. You know what I mean?
Right.
It made it look rosy. But I already had that toughness installed in me. So when I went to London, the big smoke, it was like a kid in a candy shop. Wow.
Wow.
You know?
Okay.
A whole different concept.
So a lighter atmosphere and a easier place to live was your incline, or did it decline you? I mean, what type of person did you turn into when you had it all soft? When it was hard,
I mean, if
you were on track.
I said, it's like somebody took the chains off, took the reins off.
So you started drifting.
I did and I didn't. I still applied myself to my craft. But then, this is where it's the people you meet.
Okay.
Now it's these new people that come into your life. The status climbers, the materialistic people.
Who did we meet?
What society deems. You understand?
Yeah.
What society deems, a whole different genre of person. You know? And then you end up with these celebrity pals and this and that, come to this party.
So you got into that realm.
I did, but
touched it.
Again, I still at this point, I'm not drinking, I'm not doing anything derogatory, I'm applying myself to my craft. But you can see the devil entering slowly,
Okay.
Definitely with the people he puts in your place and he puts in your face. He introduces all these different new people to your life. And you think they're good, they look perfect, what they've achieved in life, but really they can be the start of your downfall now. In the gym, always boxing related, I was bang on, because you meet some of the best. You can get some nasty people, but I've met some of the best boxing people. When I went to London, I had the famous Powers Brothers, the Peacock Gym, and they looked after me like family,
Okay.
They kept me on track.
Right.
Training was first class. I was moving through the ranks. Then I had the British title fight, a Commonwealth title fight. I'm winning. I'm going up. I'm number 10 in the world.
Wow.
With WBC, IBF, WBO, WBA. I'm a top 10 world class operator.
So,
but it's the people coming into my life now.
Yeah. So what I was about to say is comfort kind of hurt you. And there's a saying that says you should never be too comfortable.
There you go, no comfort zone.
Where you are, exactly.
No comfort zones.
So you had a comfortable, cushy position at one point. You're living in a smooth, high, fast-paced life, meeting the who's who, and keeping up with the Joneses, and you fell into this trap. Kind of, right. And sometimes comfort will do that. And I'll tell you, so difficulty and hard times kept you on track because you were super laser focused. Mm-hmm. And I'm not trying to say that you should be under too much stress and be, in a too hard of a place, but you should never be too comfortable either. That's right. I think when you went from that super hard to, more comfortable, I think it just was a massive change.
Definitely.
Maybe you couldn't handle it.
I mean, now I'm at the stage, I'm making nice money. I've got a nice car, I'm staying in a nice house on the Docklands, Oh, wow. I've got the best sponsors, Puma Ford, It's like,
damn, dude.
I'm well looked after. I have a nutritionist, my food gets delivered.
Really?
Yeah, but oh, wow. But I had to fight to get up to that level.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
It was rough on the way up, but like I said, 19 unbeaten, 20 unbeaten. The perks come with the status,
All right, so with these perks, what was your basic day? So I know your basic day when you were training, you were going to the gym, you were going to school, you were loving all that, and you were doing good in your life. Now you're comfortable, you meet the who's who people, you got the nutritionist, you got this, you got that. You pretty much don't need to do almost anything but train.
Oh,
literally nothing but training. So now it's comfort. What happens then? What happens to you then? How did you take all this luxury? We call it a luxury.
I can make you a bit soft, I think it definitely makes you feel a bit weak sometimes, Like I said, no comfort zones. I like the roughness, the toughness on the way up. Not always getting things your own way. But then when you're too privileged, you start to slack a little bit. Okay. You start to, maybe that guy who was in his bed at 9 p.m. starts going to bed maybe 11. Maybe he meets a person, they take him out around town, he goes to bed late. You start making some excuses.
What about partying?
Partying, but still at this point, not indulging in alcohol, but maybe starting to slide on the aspect of staying out late, maybe cancelling a training session in the morning.
All right, so let's fast forward a little bit. So now you've gotten a taste of the cushy life. You've built yourself up to this point. Now, take me to when you see yourself, when you can noticeably see yourself say, things are going wrong, but I'm going to continue anyway. And that's a tough question because you know it's wrong, but you're continuing anyway.
Right.
I think there's a point in all of our lives, even me, when you go through a point in your life where you know you're doing something wrong and you know you're off the path, but you're doing it anyway. When did you hit that point?
It comes to that one point where I can think back. I think when I've done as you obviously know my story, a lot of people out there know as well. You know, like when I've done the Brad Pitt body double, I was Brad Pitt's body double in Snatch.
Yeah, Snatch.
And the after party, you meet the celebrities, this and that.
Right.
And then that one drink slips in, you're not really a drinker. Then you start to get a little taste for that life. So I had the wrap-up party for Snatch.
But did you come to Malta already? You came to Malta already?
No, I came to Malta 2006.
No, Snatch wasn't filmed
Snatch
in Malta.
was, yeah.
Man, I got it all confused.
No
man. I'm sorry
problem,
about that
John
one.
Boy. So Snatch was like, I think, 1999, 2000, the wrap-up party.
So in the fight scene, that's your body. That's not Brad Pitt's body.
I choreographed the fight scenes. And for the close-ups, it's me. Even put the beard on me and the wig and the old gypsy attire. It was nice.
I know a lot of ladies that say, man, Brad Pitt looked good in that movie, and it wasn't really Brad Pitt in the fight scene,
go.
man. It's my boy Scott, man. No offense, Brad. I'm sure
nice
you
guy.
were looking fantastic.
As always, yeah.
But Scott's abs, not bad, man. All right, so now you're in the movie scene, and you got connections, serious ones. I mean, Brad Pitt's body double. I'm sure you knew plenty of people. I mean, that's when you started to.
You're in
wire.
London, you're in the
Fall
big
off.
smoke, you start with that one drink at a party, then the two drinks, you know how it spirals a little bit. Now you're still keeping the lid on it, because even though you're staying out at 2 in the morning,
Yeah.
and doing silly things, drinking too much and this and that,
I know that.
I can do it because I'm young, I'm still young here. So I'm up running 6 in the morning, I've been in bed 2 hours, 3 hours, I've got the tracks on.
Yeah.
The heart is getting me through, John. The heart
Right.
still, the heart. Why it's already been pre-installed from Scotland, it's getting me through, John.
Oh,
You know what I mean? So I'm burning the candle at both ends, but I'm still just kind of scraping through, John.
But I'm laughing. You know why I'm laughing? Because I remember, and someone that's in this room right now can attest to it, is that we used to go out and party so hard and come back to the ship, and then you'd hear bang, 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 fire drill, and then you do a fire drill, and you're like, man, you got to get in an FFE. And I don't know if you've ever been in an FFE, but this is a full firefighting gear.
All right, okay.
You got this OBA, which is not even used for firefighting. It's this big coal mining fucking equipment, and you're breathing in this thing.
Jeez.
And I just remember my friend at the time. His name was John Brown. He puked in the mask.
Oh my God.
And I'll never forget, he sat with it still on his face. That's how squared away we were. Whereas you can't let people know that you're drunk, and you just got to show up and still be there. But man, he kept that vomit mask on and continued to drill. And that's basically what you're saying, but just in a different way. It's like, even though you went out and you did your thing, you still made it happen.
Find a way, the magic 3 words, find a way.
Man,
what can you do,
making
you know?
it happen. And I'm gonna pull you off topic because one time I saw you, and I still to this day I'm like, damn, dude, I don't know how you do what you do. And you have a cigarette, you'll smoke a cigarette, and then you go right back into it, and you'll bang a 1 hour cardio session, or you'll do a 5K easy, and then you'll have like a post workout. Like, how is it possible that you can do that? I think you're the only person I know that can do this. Like, it's some old school 80s shit.
It's definitely the way you're raised, the way you were built from the beginning, the building blocks.
It's got to be the mind. I don't know, man. Because a lot of these physicists and all these other metabolic people will say what you're doing is impossible, but you do it.
I would call it undeniable self-belief, John. You know? What else is there? How else can you put it across?
I don't know, dude. You are an anomaly. So let's go back into after the movie, all these connections. Where do you float now? What happens after Snatch?
Now I start to get, you know, like that. It kind of spirals, not out of control, but it's spiraling. It's getting worse. I'm drinking. I'm partying. I'm trying to be a celebrity more than a world-class fighter. You know that. You know, you get caught up in what society deems, like I said earlier. Gets to a point, I can't do this no more. My contract's kind of coming to an end. So I have this, let's go back to Glasgow. Let's go back to Scotland.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so I go back to Scotland. Around about, I think it was 2003. I go back, 2003, 2004. Mm-hmm. I go back to Scotland. We grew up, put myself in the gym, my grandfather, and you know, I'm working hard.
Old school work.
Yeah, old school. I'm getting to take what, I'm back to the way I was, you know, like exactly. I'm happy, I'm putting in that hard work, I'm working my craft every day, I'm in my bed at this time, I'm up at 4 on the roads. My grandfather, have my cup of coffee ready, gone son, you know.
Reset button.
Yeah, and I'm feeling good.
Good.
But now, because of that kind of life that I've seen in Glasgow, I've attracted this new circle of friends.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you know, it's like a magnet. You attract them. Now it gets to a point where you attract these kind of people. Okay. And I end up with a couple of rough, tough, nasty boys, and you know.
Yeah, no names. Just describe
you know.
Describe what these guys would do. Would they be in the gym and be fighters as well?
Listen, to be honest, as you know, in combat sports and that other kind of sordid, you know, street life, they go hand in hand, you know.
What goes hand in hand?
Like you know, like a street boy, these kind of, you know. Like a fighter, combat sports star, UFC guys, they hang about with these guys, you know, like a gangster.
Like Rocky.
You know what I mean?
If you owed money.
The game's deep with unorthodox characters. It's not just us sportsmen that are involved in boxing, you got the gangsters, you know,
like calling fights, stuff like that.
The rough, tough, the street boys.
Oh, okay.
They go hand in hand, you know.
Really? Okay. And these guys that you were getting involved with,
they
were the rougher.
These guys are a bit naughty. They do things on the streets. You know, you befriend them. Now people think you're part of them. You're part of that organization.
Okay.
You know, they tar you with the same brush, if you like, you know.
Okay.
And I go into that kind of life, you know, is like an associate rather than the main man, you know, like, if these guys are up to this and doing things, you get, like I say, tarred with the same brush, you get dragged into that environment, that lifestyle. And then obviously in 2004, I was managed in Glasgow with a boxing promoter. My contract expired, and I thought, you know what, for my last gasp, I'll go back to London. But bear in mind, I've turned pro so young, I'm like only 27 here back then. I'm like 27.
Yeah, but you had a career already.
Yeah, but because I turned pro so young, John.
Oh, wow.
So people couldn't believe I was still only 27 then. I was like, I'm maybe, I don't know, 30 pro fights deep, 32 pro fights deep.
Wow.
Oh, crazy, back then.
That's crazy.
My first year as a pro, I had 9 pro fights.
Wow.
Yeah, I was nearly every month, give or take.
Fantastic.
And,
wow. That's a lot of fighting.
A lot of fighting, mate. But that's how you learned. That's how you learned. You know?
Right on.
And I was going to go back
and make money.
Yeah, of course.
You had to make the money.
But like I said, I'd done it the hard way.
Right.
I turned pro and I built myself up. You have to get to like 19 and all. I was 19 unbeaten then.
Wow.
So I really had to do it the hard way, all different levels of opponents. And then, like I said, I was going to go back to London, finish my career off, and then manager said to me, "Listen, if you leave us, you never fight again." I said, "Go f yourself," you know. I said, "I'm a boxer."
Wow. Okay. So you stood up to yourself and you said, "That's it."
So I stood up to the powers that be.
Okay.
Without glamorizing them or going into it because they don't really mean much to me. But I forgive them. I forgive them. And anyway, I put my car in the garage. A few days later, and I turn around and I see three of the boxing kids that my grandfather used to train, you know.
Oh, wow.
Again, I won't go into the names. It's irrelevant. But and they came to pick me up. I mean, give me 1 minute, boys. Three guys I'm comfortable with. I grew up with. I broke bread with them.
So these are your friends. These are people that you've known. These are people that you probably fought next to. All right.
So it turns out these guys have been paid by my boxing manager because I told them I wanted to do
One
it.
that said, "Don't leave."
No, end them. They told these guys, "We'll pay you, give them a good beating," or I don't know if they meant it. But anyway, they took me in the car. I put my car in the garage. I pulls the garage, and then the next minute I feel a bang on the side of the head. Baseball bat. This is my friend. They pulled me, they grabbed me in a car.
Oh, wow.
I remember in the car now, I don't know where the car was, but we ended up in the countryside. One of them stabbing me in the legs, stabbing me in the body. I'm in the back of the car, I'm in shock, I'm in panic. I can't believe it, it's my three pals, so-called friends that I've been with every day, grew up with.
Incredible.
They take me to the countryside, they pulled me out of the car, they stabbed me, I tried to run away, they shot me twice in the leg, pat, pat. They're smashing me with hammers, they've done a job on me. They left me on the field to die. They drove away, they left me, I remember I'm lying in the countryside and I'm looking up, I'm smashed to pieces, plates in the arms. I'm looking at the sky and I remember in that pain and in that turmoil saying to myself, wow, what a beautiful night, stars were in the sky. As I say that, it started raining, John. So I'm lying in the countryside, I'm dying, the rain's on me. And I feel as if I want to go to sleep, John. You know, I just close my eyes. Someone inside me say, don't, keep your eyes open, you know. Yeah. Don't close your eyes, don't close your eyes. It's like an inner voice or a different being, you know. Anyway, I tried to stand up, fell over. Everything's broken. They smashed my knees, my shins, stabbed me through the hands, through the feet, broke every bone, you know, fractured my skull. They'd really done the job. And I kept falling over. Anyway, I'm losing faith. I'm ready to roll over and die. And I hear a voice in my head, sing, sing. And I couldn't remember any songs, John. And then it came into my head, one song I can remember from Sunday school, one more step along the road we go.
How long did you sing that song for?
Like, it must have been like 45 minutes to an hour. That's what I can remember, and I'm singing louder and louder.
So you were scraping along the side of the road that long?
I'm in the countryside.
Car could have ran you over.
No, remember, now, in the country lane, you've got two ditches at the side. So if I go over to them, I'm in the ditch and I'm dead, I ain't coming back out.
You can't move.
So I had to
stay on the road.
Crawl along the middle of this road. Now, if a car comes over, it goes straight over you. You wouldn't see it. I wouldn't have time to brake, you know.
Okay. So maybe it just goes over you.
Oh, for sure, mate. Jesus. By the grace of God, because we serve a living God. By the grace of God, in that duration of time, no car came.
No car came.
I could see in the distance, I could see a farmhouse with a light on. So I make my way up the drive. I see a crawl up to the window and there's blood all over the window and I see a gentleman lying on the sofa, John. And now it must have looked like a horror movie. Can you imagine lying on the sofa having a kip and you look up, you see this zombie at the window?
No, dude, no. But
So,
I would be prepared for it, but I can't.
as I'm
imagine.
banging the window, I hear him shouting his wife, Sandra. Anyway,
Sandra.
I always remember his name and I'll tell you why.
Wow, that's crazy.
He come to the house, we open up, I'm Scott Dixon, I've been assaulted. Please help me, can you phone an ambulance? Anyway, now, 3 hours before, I used to have hair back then because it was 90s, you know, sorry. It was early 2000s, so I still had a bit of hair then. And I had a hairdresser. Now it turned out the girl who cut my hair, Leanne Arneal, who became my best friend, she actually, God rest her soul, she actually passed away last year.
Oh man,
You know, she had some
my condolences to you.
health problems, but she's very special to me. And it was her mum and dad's house. I'd crawled to her. I'd actually been with it. She'd cut my hair like 3 hours before, and by the grace of God, I've crawled. I never knew where the mum and dad in the middle of the countryside.
So, wow.
Anyway, she went, yeah.
Talk about fate.
So the mum said, oh, you were with my Leanne, you know. Anyway, the ambulance comes, Leanne comes up on scene, she's vomiting everywhere, she's sick, she can't believe it's happened. They take me to hospital, my heart stopped on the operating theatre, and they revived me. But I've no, you know, like people say when your heart stops, did you see something, I've no recollection of that.
Of course.
I took a seizure on the operating theatre, you know. And then, from there, like I say, when I think back to it, that's where my pain comes from. That's me hit it right on the head. That's where, because my life was so good up till then, so good. So I was blessed. All right, I've come from a rough, tough housing estate, from the deprivation of society. I've got a loving family around me.
Right.
I'm studying my craft. Now what am I going to do? Now this is where the battle begins. Because what am I going to do now?
So this is your biggest challenge that you're faced with. I mean, you've had some hiccups along the way, but now this is your challenge.
This is a big
You
challenge.
go to the hospital, they revive you, but now you're just alive. You're not whole. How long does it take you to be Scott Dixon again? Because you're broken. You're not Scott Dixon anymore. You're an injured person. What did you do to get back to being Scott?
It's been a journey, John. I think I only got back to Scott Dixon going even as little as a few months ago. I've been searching since. A few months ago, I really found myself.
And you want to know something? I'm going to be honest with you. That's what we call fucking owning it. That's what we call owning it right there. Yeah. I mean, listen, there's going to be people that are going to bullshit. There's going to be people that are going to talk about.
I've been battling and struggling, alcohol, addiction for.
So listen, when you were in hospital, they were giving you obviously painkillers.
Yeah, I mean, it took me a long time to walk again, and.
So you were taking hardcore painkillers.
Yeah.
Did that get you involved in things, and did you keep maybe addictions that you shouldn't have had due to that?
Because listen, what God gave me has now been taken away. Not necessarily, not by God, you know. But then again, maybe by God, because He wants to break me down. That's exactly what rock bottom means. You find a rock at the bottom, right? Your rock at the bottom. You know, it's to rebuild your shape, your mold you. So then my life spiraled out of control. You know, I'll tell you, I have nothing to hide. Since 2004 till very, very recently, I've just been self-sabotaging, John. Really. Everything I touch turns to go. You know. And I've really battled the last 20 years again with alcohol, addiction. And very recently, I've been trying to find somebody told me, so why are you always self-sabotaging? I had a business partner before.
Okay.
This guy, I'll name him because he's a gentleman, Richie, Dutch kid. He used to have a gym in St. Julian's. And he used to tell me, Scott, why are you self-sabotaging? He used to say to me, go find the root problem. And I mean, where do we begin? Because that many problems have arisen since 2004. So, but I had to go, at this point I know I had to go back to 2004 when it happened. That's the action that caused the reaction, the snowball effect. But just so many situations and trials and tribulations, I couldn't quite pinpoint it. But when it goes back to 2004.
It's trauma, dude. It's
Trauma.
Sometimes you have to face that trauma again so that you can get over it. But what are you going to do to move forward from that? I mean, you're saying it recently you're feeling better. Like, what have you done? What steps have you done to get over that?
Close to God. You can't be a lukewarm Christian. You know my problem was I was a lukewarm Christian. I was there and I was, you know, when it suited me. But now you have to give a full committal to God.
You put your faith in
I go on my knees and I say, Jesus, I surrender. Please, I can't do it my way. I want to do it your way. I put everything in your hands. He directs me. And with the alcohol, I was struggling for years. I would even sometimes go 3 months, then boom, I would drink. Then I would go 6 months, no alcohol, no substances.
That's called plateau drinking, yeah.
And then it would come like a thief in the night.
Usually does.
Now,
dude.
if you don't have on your armour of God, i.e. praying, doing the right thing, living properly, giving them all the glory, that's when the devil, that's an entity for the devil, that's when they come straight back in and pull you back, right, come back in. When I'm in the gym, John, I always say to my clients, do as I say, not as I do.
Right.
Do as I say, not as I do. That's what I used to preach to my clients because they knew I was a bit unhinged, even up to very recently.
I think it says it on your WhatsApp. Like when most people say that they're available or unavailable, yours says unhinged.
There you go.
Okay.
You know what?
So listen,
I know.
not to speed you up, but let's bring you now. You've been stabbed. You've been left for dead. That's serious trauma.
Yeah.
You now obviously have to build yourself back up, become Scott again. How long does it take, give or take? Quick answer to that. How long does it take you to get able to walk and train in the gym again?
Easily got a 1.5 year window, even when I come
Year and a half, and that's not so bad. That's crazy time, dude. So you're talking about
pushed it, John.
Yeah, but you're talking about being nearly dead and coming back a year and a half later, almost being back to going in the gym. That's not too
I used to go
crazy.
in the other patient's room and steal the crutches. If you read the book, I know you've read the book. There's a part in the book where I go in, I take the guy's crutches, and I'm trying to make myself walk.
To speed it up.
Yeah.
You want to go on a fast track.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, so you're doing the wrong thing, but fuck it, you want to do it anyway. Good.
Again,
no problem.
what's pre-installed?
You know, Frank Sinatra said it. He did it his way. You did it your way. And here's the next one that I'm going to say. So 1.5 years. I'm speeding you up because I want to bring you into Malta. You come to Malta. You're trying to get away from those people. Why did you come here? What brought you here to this rock?
I'm not trying to get away from those people.
Wow.
Probably still trying to get away from my own head.
But how did you know Malta? Malta was this. I mean, honestly, Malta for me back in the day that you came, back in the day that I came, 2001. This was a hidden gem. This island is like now everywhere else. I'm not going to say it's a horrible place. It's just like everywhere else. It's very commercialized. You got the cameras, you got everything. It's all up to date. But it felt like you were in 1940s Malta, and honestly, the old buses, the old culture, the traditions,
the heritage.
How'd you find this place, man?
I met a girl in Glasgow.
All right, met a girl.
Back then I was running security in Glasgow. Let's not go into that, John. I was running security in Glasgow and clubs and stuff. And
right.
Now I'm that guy, i.e. unhinged. And I'm doing all these things I shouldn't be doing.
Oh boy.
You know, try to build my own empire in a very derogative way. But I meet a girl in Glasgow, you know, and she stayed a few weeks, came back. We had a kid, and my daughter My daughter is like 23 years old now.
Oh, wow.
So that's how the motor story began. My mother actually moved here just before me.
Right.
And I had some problems in Glasgow. Anyway, I was wanted by the law. And my lawyer told me, is your mum in that sunny place? I went, yeah, of course. He went, go and visit her because you still got your passport. You got high court bail. I'm starting to get into trouble now. You know, stupid things. And I come to Malta. A couple of days into being here, the lawyer phones me. Are you in the sunny place? I went, yes. He went, stay there. He said, they're going to make an example of you now.
Oh, well. So he gave you a heads up, like, listen, don't come back here.
I stayed here.
Right.
And that was it.
Malta's been your new home.
Exactly. But now remember, what's happened to me, I'm killing a lot of pain. And I mean, I had a crazy run here, really, you know, like I say, John, it's only of recent that I've really got my act together. All by the grace of God.
But when you came here, you fostered up a program here. You leveled boxing up, correct?
That's 10% of me. People ain't seen the best of Scott Dixon. You're gonna get from this what we're having now. You're getting the best version of Scott Dixon. I'm in the best place in my life that I've ever been.
Okay.
I'm in the best place in my life.
So you're making a testament today.
I've got clarity. I've got vision, and I can save. I'll never go back to the old me. I managed to bury him a few months ago. He's gone. None of that. Now, what you see now is what's going to be in the future.
Yeah, but what I'm saying before is that you've built serious boxers here in Malta.
Of course.
You know, we don't need to even say names, or you could say names, but
no.
I know that Hatham will attest that, you know,
fantastic kid.
And I love that you guys are still boxing. When I see you guys moving, is a fantastic thing to see you guys doing pad work together and working, because you raised him up and made him.
What a beautiful boy! I love him dearly, like my son. You know, he's great and he's so he never, you know. I said he's good. Hatham, he's experienced. Me, the good, the bad, and the ugly. He never judged.
Right.
You know? Yes, boss. He never judged.
Man.
What a beautiful guy. Everybody else is want to judge. Oh, he done this, he done that. And the testimonies like the Dead Sea Scrolls, no problem. We all fall a long way short of the glory of God. Jesus came for the sake, my brother.
Do you want to know something? I'm going to stop you quick because I'm going to do this one for you quick. Do you think that people that judge people and talk bad about people, especially behind people's backs, do you think that they're strong people or weak people? For me, I feel that they're weak people, and I'll tell you what. People that need to justify who other people are and talk shit behind their backs need to level themselves up by bringing other people down.
That's right.
True strong people don't need to do that. They can learn lessons from people that do things wrong, but they can level themselves up in a natural way. Where if I need to insult someone and bring them down, that's just a reflection of your character and your self-worth, which is minimal to none. So honestly, when I hear someone talk shit about another person, it doesn't have to be necessarily you. I just look at that person and I take them for face value and I say, all right, listen, what's wrong with this person and why do they have so much going on? Probably because they didn't invest enough inside themselves. So they need to level people down. When you need to level someone down, it means you don't have enough going on inside yourself. So in reality,
like you ain't so happy with your own life, you know?
Man, honestly, it's a sick thing.
Regardless, we still love them, we still forgive them. Let it be.
We need those people. We need those people because we need to show them that they're fucking wrong. That's number one.
Absolutely.
Number two, we need those people because those people show us who people we need to stay away from.
Even the Bible tells you God will lift you up in front of those who put you down.
Right.
He will raise you again in front of them. But so be it.
Right. I have a small saying about negative people and positive people. I always say, make room for both in your life, but only give time to one. And time to one means that the people that are positive in your life, they want you to grow, go in the right direction, be the best version of yourself. I always like to say best version of yourself because I think that every day is a learning day, right?
Absolutely.
So I always say that positive people that want the best out of you, like literally, I'm your friend. I want you to be great. Okay?
That's right.
But you give those people your time, like you're doing to me right now.
Yeah.
But when you have negative people, you need those people in your life too, because that's fuel, man. I mean, honestly, I feel it's like coal for the fire. And I'm going to show it. I'm going to cook that coal up. No problem.
Definitely.
You say I can't do a podcast, look at me now.
Watch me go.
No problem.
Exactly.
Tell me about it.
You know, John. You know.
Fuck 'em. So you have a daughter that's 20. Tell me a little bit about your family. How many you got? What you got? You got only one kid?
I've got 4 girls and 2 boys.
So you don't have one kid, man.
4 girls and 2 boys.
Damn, man.
My 2 boys have experienced the boxing. They've both been in the ring, had like a fight each, you know. So my oldest boy is 19, Toby, and my youngest boy is 12, Mason.
And they're both boxing, yes?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, you got them in the craft. What about the girls? Are the girls in the boxing?
Listen, see, I know. Well, one of Ella, young one, Ella's 11. She likes it. She's very, very well schooled. They was studied because you don't think they do, but see, they've constantly been in a boxing gym with you, and
Right.
you know, they watch things and you pick it up, kids pick it up. So she shapes up nice, her balance is there.
Yeah.
So she could, but I don't want my girls fighting. I don't really want my boys fighting, hey. But if that's the path they choose, so be it, you know.
Right. But we always want them to have that baseline.
Yeah, of course.
Baseline, need to have the baseline.
Yeah, absolutely. Discipline, yeah.
So now you've been in Malta since what,
2006.
2006?
Yeah.
Damn, brother.
Long time, bro. Long
Man.
time. Long time.
Long
bro.
time.
I've
First
seen
time I
I've
came
seen
to
a
Malta
lot
was
of change, yeah.
2001, but you've been here since 2006. I think I know somebody that's been there as long as you as well. So, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Cool, man.
But this is home now, John. This is home. I love it.
This is my home too, man. I got a kid.
love
I
it,
got
John.
my kid too, so
I really love it.
I'm here, man. Like
I
it or not.
respect the Maltese. I really love it, John. I really do.
I think there are definitely worse places to be.
Oh.
Malta is a fantastic
And for me-
place to be.
and for me,
You
still
got the
is-
sea.
For me, still the safest place in Europe, safest destination in Europe, I would say Malta. For sure.
And that spot that you have for boxing is fantastic. I love
that's a
that.
gift from
Spinola
God.
Bay. We would come there and box right there in the front. Everybody would be looking at you, beating the
Amazing.
shit out of me. It was a fantastic place
Beautiful.
to just put on a free show, man, of
right.
just murdering me. And I think honestly,
John, it wasn't that
we
much.
should have been collecting money, which honestly we weren't. And I think we've been robbing ourselves. We should have put a sign out. Would you like me to beat the shit out of this guy? Because that's what I do. And he pays me, by the way, but I need to give him something back.
You gave your fair share back, John. You had your future.
Dude, I hit you once, and I'll never forget. You looked at me like, okay, you're gonna pay. And that's when you hit me in the liver, and I was like, wow, man. I was like, you remember I hit you once, and you said this line. You said, no one goes to battle or no one goes to war and doesn't get one hit in or something like that. What was
You
that?
can't go out in the rain and not get wet.
Yeah, or you said something about battle and not get one
can't go
one
war
hit
and
in
not
or
get-
something,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And I was like, dude, I didn't even really hit you. I mean, I hit you, but I didn't hit you. I felt my glove touch your face, but it wasn't like a full thing. But then you looked at me like, okay, you're gonna pay, and I was
Here we
like,
go
oh,
now.
fuck me, man. And I never really went for your face again. In fact, I think that was like the last time I could move properly. But let's kick it off, and I want to tighten this off. I want it to be, if there was a kid out there that lived lives like us, because that's why you're on this podcast, and this is why you're my first guest, is that I know that you lived a life. I didn't know that your grandma and your grandpa had to step in because your mom and your dad's story, because that's similar to me. But I know that you've been through it, you've gone through a tougher life, but my work and what I want to do with kids would benefit from hearing you say this piece. What could you tell the next generation, future fighters, or just kids that are on the wrong track how do you think that they can go on track without making the stupid mistakes that we made? Because that's what owning it's all about. It's about understanding that your life's never going to be perfect. You're going to make mistakes.
That's right.
You're going to fail forward.
Well, that's exactly what I say. A lot of people, a lot of kids nowadays, or young adults, they blame people they blame others for their circumstances.
Right.
You know, oh, well, my mum was this, my dad was this.
Weak.
No sad stories, bro. It is what it is, you know?
Stories.
Everything you need is in your own hands, Joe.
Right.
If you want someone, go and grab it by the throat and obtain it, you know? Again, discipline, desire, devotion, these are the traits, you know?
Right.
Apply yourself to your craft, whatever it may be, whatever you are. Two great days in life. The day you were born and the day you realize why you were born, what your God-given talent was.
That's serious.
There you go.
Say that again. Look in the camera and say that. That's
Two great days in life. The day you were born and the day you realized why you were born, what you were taught to do, what your God-given talent was, what your gift was.
damn, and that doesn't. And then listen, that day doesn't come right away.
No,
That day
it takes time, bro.
I think mine hasn't really come yet either, and I think it might be, and I think it's starting now. I think it's shaping with right now, and I'm getting goosebumps by saying it. So that's how real it is. But dude, I'm 44. I'm not young. I'm not old. I'm not gonna preach any of this crap of who's old and who's not. But man, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
Peaked yet, John. We as adults,
We haven't peaked.
We ain't even peaked yet.
We haven't peaked yet.
This
Oh,
is
that's
it.
what I'm gonna tell everybody that I see
Tell
now,
them.
man. Especially my kid when he tells me, "Dad, you're old."
No, exactly.
Hey man, we might be old, but we're gold, man. I'll tell you that. Dude. We're gold, man. We are golden, man. We are golden boys. All right. So speaking of it, so that's your gem that you passed on to kids. What are you planning on doing? How can people reach out to you? You got a book. It's a hard-hitting, life impacting. It's not a book that's a self-help book. I have a book out too. It's called Own It. It's got messages in it where it teaches people how to turn their lives around through my story. Yours isn't. Yours is more, a little bit more brutal. It's an in-your-face autobiography. Mine's more of a memoir, self-help book. Yours is more. So if you're into, reading a hard, heavy-hitting, no holds bars, no hold punches book, I think your book is a fantastic book. I know that there was a mix-up with who published your book. Now I have your old book. I don't have it with me because I was reading it at home, taking notes.
Yeah, I mean, you know how this life is.
What happened
I had a publisher before. We done a big deal. So the book was Americanized. It was in sale all over UK, Europe. It was even, like I say, Americanized. It was in every Walmart store.
Okay,
in
cool.
the US. And then, I'm not gonna. I don't name, don't shame it. It's God will deal with them.
Right.
I never seen one dime. So in excess of 30,000 copies sold worldwide. Okay. I never saw one dime.
But when I personally bought the book from you, you got my money, yes?
Of course. Right. But what I'm saying is, I
did get a dime then. I paid more than a dime.
A couple of times. I thought it was a gift.
No, man, I paid, man. I paid.
Right, okay.
And you signed it. And you signed it. And you, man. So there you go. You made something out of it.
You know what I mean, John?
Listen, you didn't get your fair share.
No.
Now, how do we get your book?
Right, so I have all the rights back to me, so now I own 100% of my book.
Okay.
So I'm going to republish. It's going to be out very, very soon.
All right.
On all good platforms, bookshops.
Okay.
We're still strategizing in the way.
Dude, I think you should put it on Kindle. I have my book on Kindle. I get 70% of the book, so my rights are 70% of the rights. So you can go with that, and it's Amazon, so you're not going to get screwed over.
I have a good friend of mine.
That'll be an ebook, and then you can do a paperback, and you can even do a cover book. But that's going to be for another time, and we can talk about that.
Yeah,
we can launch your book, so we can launch that book, get it out there. What's it called? It's called The Road.
The Road from Hell.
The Road from Hell.
I started writing my second book. that's going to be still
wow.
on the road. Yeah, I'm in front.
Yeah, because you're still on the road. You're still learning.
Yeah.
That's what owning's all about, man.
That's right.
It's not about saying that you know everything. There's some people that are going to be know-it-alls.
Still on the road.
Stay away from those people. If you think you know it all, you don't know nothing.
No,
you can be 80 and still
exactly.
learn something.
That's when you're son. Oh,
Man.
that's where the problems come, John.
Well, I tell you, we're all about keeping momentum going.
That's right.
And we're all about changing people's lives.
Yes.
So what is your last final message? If there's a message that we can say, what was the point of all of this life that you lived? What one thing or two things or whatever handful of things, what is your mission? Do you have a mission? I feel that the type of life that you've lived, you have a mission statement. If you have one, say it to that camera.
The truth would be all and end, but I want to serve God. If you seek the truth, get close to God. I want to do things right. I want to build better people. I want to educate people, but all in a godly manner. You know? Like a simple act, I want to serve my God.
Okay.
He will I put everything in his hands. He will direct me the way it should be from here on in.
Well, not
I tried it my way, John.
Right.
I tried it my way. It never worked out the way it should.
Right.
I had my trials, my tribulations, so now it's all in the Lord's hand.
Okay, and not to push you a little bit, but you did say that the best times of your life and the most memorable moments that you've had in your life were the times that you gave back to charity and that you were working with kids.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I remember when I was in Glasgow.
So your mission is going to be maybe making sure that kids be the best versions of themselves and build people up?
Definitely. I think I told you a story. I used to work with underprivileged kids back home. And
well, that's what I'm doing, dude. That's my mission.
It was so rewarding, John, because these kids had just had they got the short straw in life, John. You know?
Right on.
And I used to look after them and, you know, teach them. I take them for dinner, teach them how to eat, teach them everyday things. The poor souls, they just never experienced, they never sat down and had a family meal. And I really felt for them, you know? So I worked on a project where I took like 6, 7, 8 kids. And I remember the first time I took them to the restaurant.
Right.
And they didn't know how to order a meal, you know?
Right.
They didn't know what to the
And you felt like when you gave back, you got back way more than you gave.
And I think like 7 out of 8, you know, the training me, again, training was a medicine, John. Fitting body, sound and mind, and he trained me for a period of time. And I think 7 out of 8 of them went into full-time employment and their lives changed and, you know, they built something for themselves. But again, it was all through training,
right.
You know, and a lot of life skills and life lessons along the way.
Right.
No, I mean, I was blessed in the aspect. I had a good family and I was raised and taught etiquette and what have you. But some of these kids just don't have a chance in life.
All right, so now I'm gonna challenge you one last time, and I'm gonna give you your send off, man. And I'll tell you this: this is me inviting you in what I'm gonna do, and my mission is to help kids exactly how you said. And you're more than welcome to come down and give down that absolute expertise that you have. Your life, your story, your mission, you can definitely, you can give way back, you can give back to these kids something that I absolutely feel that kids that are on the wrong track, they respond better to people that have been through the same shit, not just by a psychologist. Not to joke or not to knock any professionals out there. But if you got a degree and you got a kid who's, you know, lived on the streets or maybe he's homeless or maybe he's been through the system, they want to talk to another person who's been through the system. They don't want to talk to the person with a degree because the person with a degree doesn't understand them on their level, and that's what we do. So what I want to do is I want to recruit like-minded people that want to serve that kind of mission. And if you're down for that, man, then
100%, John. That's great.
Well, cool,
I
man.
really appreciate that.
Well,
practical experience.
I'm giving you my Force Fit badge.
John boy.
That's the badge.
Fantastic.
This is the hat, and you can put the badge on the hat so when you wear it,
John,
you're a warrior.
Absolute gentleman.
And this is my challenge coin to you. So if you take it on and you're about to make that a call that you want to serve, and make children the best versions of yourself,
Let's do.
then I give you the coin, man, and that coin, you deserve it, bro. And
Let's
that is
do.
a coin that's going to say that you're there to help kids be the best versions of themselves, man.
God bless you, John.
To our lessons of our
God
lives,
bless
man.
you, bro. I'm so happy to be part of this. Thank you so much.
Dude, you're gonna be a part of it even more than you think.
God don't make mistakes, John.
God doesn't make
the right
mistakes.
people in the right place at the right time.
That's the right thing. Well, this is John Spartan. This is Scott Dixon, man. What a fantastic story. What a fantastic soul. We can go off track and we can come back on track. But let me tell you something. It doesn't matter where you were in life.
Right.
What matters is where you go. And let me tell you something. Lessons are taught every single day. If you take them and you learn from them and you become a great person, which I know everyone has the capacity to be, then ultimately you're gonna be.
Right. You're passed on to find you.
You're gonna pass on lessons that are truly valuable. I think that we have truly valuable information that we're passing on to people, and that's what this podcast is all about. If you want to be involved in more further information, this podcast is going to be bumping out some serious stuff, not just podcasts, but updates on initiatives, charities, and whatnot. So if you're not subscribed, you should be. And you can understand that no one is coming, and I am no one. This is John Spartan with the Own It podcast. Own your life. Boom, done.
Done.